Hello, everyone. Tina Hogan Grant here. I'm the author of 9 books, and this is my regular Cuppa A Natter from California. I come on twice a month, and I like to bring authors into my home, and we talk about books, reading, writing, life as an author, and whatever comes to mind. And tonight, this evening, Courtnee Turner Hoyle is joining me. How are you this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. You look fabulous. And where are you joining us from?
I'm from Irwin, Tennessee.
I love your accent. I was in Tennessee last year. I think I told you that before.
You did.
I love Tennessee. I don't ask me what part. It was like 15 minutes out of Nashville. How far are you from Nashville?
About 5.5 hours.
Oh, you're far away from me. But my son rented this cute little cabin, almost like in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that took me by surprise, I'm not sure if you have them there, was these loud bugs at night. Do you have them?
With cicadas?
It was so loud, but I never saw them.
Yes, they were out in the I think last year the locusts came out too. So
Maybe it was locusts.
mm-hmm.
But my grandkids loved it. They were like trying to look for them.
Oh.
But Tennessee is beautiful. It really is.
Thank you. I remember you saying on your website how green it was here, and I imagine it is. It's rather rainy today.
Yeah, when we were there, it rained. I mean, maybe like 2 days out of the week, but it was so green. It reminded me of England a lot. I'm in California. We're in a drought, and all the hills are brown. And it's like, oh. And you don't realize it until I go to a place like Tennessee.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, it's so green here. But my son loved it. His best friend from since he was 5 years old lived out there. Mm-hmm. So, we got to meet him and everything like that. I loved it. It was a beautiful place. So welcome, my dear. Congratulations on your new release, Finding Emma. Do you have a copy of that book?
I do.
I actually was one of your reviewers. Thank you so much for giving me an advance copy. And I really, really enjoyed it. But before we get into the book, can you give us a little background on you? I know you're from Tennessee, but anything else you want to add before we get into Finding Emma?
Well, as you know, as an author, you always have to do the author bio. And in my author bio, I generally talk about I have 2 undergraduate degrees and a master's degree from East Tennessee State University. And I spend my days avoiding unannounced visitors and chocolate and sweet tea.
There you go.
I also have children. I have a husband. I'm married. And I homeschool my children. Not all of them. I do have my eldest 2 went through public school. And then my middle child, she's in middle school, getting ready to go to high school. But I enjoy writing. I write every day.
So how many children do you have?
I have 7.
7 kids? You look old enough to have 7 kids.
I started very young.
And how many are home with you?
I have 5 at home with me, and then 1 at college, and then another one who has her own life and is currently watching us right now.
And what is the age of the ones that are home? The youngest is how old?
Oh, he's 19 months.
And the eldest at home is?
14.
How do you find time to write not just one book, but a lot of books?
I have just developed a routine of I go to sleep when they do, and then I wake up, and it's before they do. Thank goodness. They give me a little bit of time. They sleep, and I write, and I read. I do everything that I need to do.
And you homeschool your children?
I do.
And then I guess, so you do all your writing in the morning before the kids wake up?
I do. I do. Sometimes they will let me write in the afternoon, but it's very seldom. I have a 19-month-old, so
I don't know how to do it. I just don't. I mean, my grandkids come on the weekend. Okay, I'm taking the weekend off. No writing, no nothing. Just the kids. So I admire that you discipline yourself to get up before the kids, get your work done, and then take care of the family. So I love that. That's incredible. I do want to take a little pause. We have a lot of people joining us. I do want to say hi to them. Again, I'm with Courtnee Turner Hoyle. We are going to be talking about her books. Her latest one is called Finding Emma. And if you have questions for Courtnee, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I will go ahead and post as many as I can for Courtnee. But we have Karen. I'm sure you know a lot of these people. Karen Wright, Linda Tucker, Cinda Anu, Barbara Miller, Darlene Johnson, Lori Chasko, Bambi Rathman, Sony Rehan, Amy Walsh, Phyllis Carr. They're all here to hear about your books, Courtney.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out, or well, not really coming out, but sitting at home and listening to it.
On Facebook or YouTube or wherever you are watching us. Linda Martin. I do see a couple of Facebook users that's telling me you are in my group, which is private.
I think it froze.
We back?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, you gotta love technology. Oh, it drives me nuts. Sorry about that. We're back. Hold your horses. Sherry Brown is here. Anyways, let's continue on. Let's hope the internet behaves. I'm not sure if it's me or you. It's probably me because I'm in the mountains. Let's Finding Emma. This came out last month.
It did on the 17th. I published it on St. Patrick's Day.
That's a great way to release a book. It's my favorite holiday is St. Patrick's Day, and I had the privilege of reading the book before it was published, and I absolutely loved it. So well done. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm not going to give anything away, but the ending was like just a wow. Not just the ending, but the last 2 or 3 chapters of the book was just like a wow. This is okay. I know it's a cross genre. What genres would you classify this book as?
Oh, I tell everyone that it's more like a contemporary romance with Southern fiction and a soft sci-fi twist, with hints of magical realism, maybe.
I think that's perfect. Perfect genre description. I do. And what gave you the idea for this book? Did you plan on it being a little bit of sci-fi in it with the romance? Was that your intention when you started writing the book? No,
ma'am. When I thought of the idea for the book, I was driving right down the interstate. I looked over at a hill, and I was in Unicoi County. And if anyone's joining us from Unicoi County, they'll kind of know what I'm talking about. But there's a tire plant that's off from the left, and on the right, there's an old flea market that's a car dealership. And I looked up on that hill, and I just had this feeling come over me of, oh, well, what if there was a young woman who woke up on a hill and she didn't know where she was? Well, then it expanded from that into, well, maybe she does have a clue, but what's the clue? Well, what if she had a tattoo with a name? And that's kind of what I went with. And that's all I had. And everything else just came in.
So for this book, and I'm not sure for the other ones, you didn't plot the actual book. You just kind of sat down, had that idea that you just told us about, and just let it take its course?
Yes. In fact, in my first book, My Brother's Keeper, I had just had this enormous book hangover, if you know what I mean when I say that. I had read, I don't know, have you read the Hunger Games series?
I have not. No, I have not. I read Harry Potter. I'm terrible.
Well, I read Mockingjay, and it gave me a book hangover. And I moped around all summer. I finished it in May, and I moped around all summer thinking, woe is me. You know, this book ended, and I didn't want it to end that way. And I didn't, if I could write a book, I would do it so differently. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'll write a book that I want to read.
There you go.
And so I sat down. My 14-year-old was 3 at the time. And I sat down and I said, the sound was a bump and a thud. And then it just all came out from there.
Just came out.
Everything.
So that pretty much answers my next question was, how did you get into writing? So it was after reading that one of the Hunger Games books that you wanted to sit down and write a book that you wanted to read.
Mm-hmm.
Do you don't plot any of your books? None. Have you tried plotting?
No.
I tried it once and said, forget this. I
Yeah.
just can't do it. So I totally understand. The characters, I'm talking with Finding Emma, is any of the characters based on anyone you know or just pure fiction? I always ask that question.
Oh, yes.
I want to know.
Well, Mrs. Winsome, it's based on someone, but I can't say who.
Have they read the book?
Because yes, they
Oh, they might know.
no. No. But I'll message you about it.
Oh, I'd love to know.
Anyone else who wants to know, send me a message and I'll tell you who it is.
I'd love to. Do we think we know her?
You probably don't.
Okay, well, I still want to know. I still
Okay.
want to know.
All right, I'll message you. But yes, and if you remember, Mrs. Winsome was really cantankerous and just she was the comic relief, I guess.
I liked her. She just kept everybody in what's the word I'm thinking of, like in check.
Yes, she did.
She really kept everyone in check. I like her a lot. And this book, Finding Emma, it's the first book in the series, correct?
It is. It is.
Ooh.
So the next book will come out next year, and I'm planning again for March of next year for its release.
And you started working on that one?
Very little work on that one so far, but I do know I know exactly where I'm going with it. I just the characters have to talk to me as I write. So
that's like me too. I'm the same way. I sit down and I just wait for my characters to talk to me. And like you, I have no idea how the book's going to end. Absolutely none. And I've just finished writing Vegas Bound, which is book 6 of the Sabella series. And the ending of that one, in fact, not just the ending, but the build up to the actual plot, I didn't even see coming until probably chapter 10. So I love the way the story unfolds, for us as authors without it being plotty. We know, for me, it's more fun than actually knowing what's going to happen. Because it makes me, I can't wait to go write again because I want to see what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's much the same way with writing as it is with reading. You don't want to close your book, and when you're reading or when you're writing.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So this will come out next March. Do you know how many books are going to be in? Is it a trilogy, a series? Do you have any idea? Or are you just going to keep going until the characters stop telling you, okay, I'm done?
Well, we'll see that's the problem with me. I say, okay, it's going to be, so there's going to be so many in the series. And then the characters keep talking. My Brother's Keeper, my book behind me. Let's see if I move to the side, you can. So my debut novel, that was going to be a standalone. And then afterward, the Miller family, their story wasn't finished. So I had to keep going. So with Finding Emma, I knew at the end, and I guess you know what I'm talking about because you've read it. Mm-hmm. I knew at the end that it was going to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. From the way the book ended, there's more. There's a lot more. Hopefully.
I just finished a thriller, and the thriller, I'm a multi-genre writer. Right. And so the thriller that I've written, it was going to be a standalone, and it is now a series.
So this is another series you're working on, the thriller?
Oh, I have so many projects. I have a lot of other books coming out this year. I have a paranormal suspense that will be out on August the 2nd. And then I have the one that I was speaking about, the thriller. It'll be out the 27th of October. Then I have Cascade, which is my contribution to an anthology, but I've expanded it into a novella, and it will be out on October 11th. So
you've been busy.
And then the third in the Palewood series will be out in January.
How do you keep track? I mean, do you write one story at a time, or do you have like 2 or 3 going at the same time?
Well, I have 2 or 3 going at the same time, and I'm sure that my daughter and my mother get tired of hearing about different plots and different things that I'm talking about. And my beta readers and my street team, they don't see anything that doesn't pass through the eyes of my eldest daughter and my mother first. And like I said, I'm sure that those two ladies are tired of hearing me talk about, well, I have a ghostwriting project and this is what I learned about the case, because it's a true crime novel.
Right.
And then, oh, but this is going on in my thriller, and where they're so similar, they're like, okay, well, which one was which? Is this real or is this your book?
Oh my God, I don't know how you keep track. I at one point wrote 2 books to get side by side, and I could not do it again. There's no way.
Which
For
2
me,
books?
I kept crossing over. Like I'd be writing the Sabella series, and all of a sudden Tammy's in there from the other series. I'm like, okay, concentrate. You're in the wrong book. You know, I just couldn't do it. So after I wrote those 2 together, and it was because I was waiting for an editor that I had some downtime. Okay, I'll start a little romance series, and then those collided together, and I had to write, both at the same time, and I got totally lost. I don't know how you keep track.
I love it. I have the software Atticus, and I think it's similar to Vellum, but I don't have a Mac, so I have Atticus.
It does all your format. I never heard of it because I have Vellum, and I would be lost without it. I mean, it makes formatting a book like a piece of cake. I don't really need to know the formatting. I just upload it to Volume, and 20 seconds later, it's all formatted into all the, the editions I want, paperback, Kindle, So I love it. I do. I really do. I want to take a little pause and see if we have any questions from readers for you. Here's one from Karen. Where is your favorite place in the world to visit?
Disney World. That's going to sound so silly, but
it's understandable.
I have a lot of children, and I love them so much that seeing their faces and seeing them happy when we go there, it lights up my life, my vacation. I've been to Cumberland Falls, Tennessee to see the moonbow, and that was lovely because there were only 2 moonbows at that time. And I think was one in Victoria Falls, Africa, but it has since part of it's collapsed, so it doesn't produce the same effect. So Cumberland Falls, Tennessee still has that. And that was lovely. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, wow. I haven't been to Disney World, Disneyland in a lot. I think my eldest grandson was about maybe 5 when I took him last. My family came from England, and my niece came with her young son. So we took my sisters and her grandkids and my grandkids. And that was the last time I went. I've not been in so long. And then with COVID, couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. So anyways, I saw Betty is here. This is Betty. I've known Betty for, where'd she go? Come on, Betty. I've known Betty for almost 30 years.
Oh,
she was
wow.
a crossing guard at my son's school when I lived down in Venice. Oh. So I've known Betty. We go way, way back. She's also from England. She says, I've never heard of her before, but her books sound interesting. So I wanted to just say hello to Betty. Or Elizabeth.
Hello, Betty.
And say hi. I'm glad you're joining us, Betty. Lori has a question for you, Lori Chasko. I'm just going to go through a few questions. And what I want to do is read the description to Finding Emma from Amazon, so readers can get an idea of the book. Lori says, do you enjoy reading the same genre you write, or is that too much like work? Well, you write so many genres.
I literally read anything.
I will. Any genre you will not read.
Well, I don't like heavy. I don't like abuse. Stories of things, children's abuse and things. It bothers me too much. But I read I help out my fellow authors. I read for them. I read for NetGalley. I read just anything I can get my hands on. My mother took me to the library when I was very small, and that library at the time used to be a bank. and in the back was the vault, and it was the children's nook. So I spent a long time in that children's nook developing my love of reading. And the first books I really remember are like Black Beauty and the Nancy Drew series, and because my mother showed me those, and I was hooked. So I've always loved mysteries. So having anything, even a romance with a mystery, kind of like what you've done with your books, mystery, suspense, and things of that nature wound into things. I love the blending of genres in books. Just anything works for me.
Oh, good. And you're an avid reader. You read at nighttime or in the morning?
Both.
You read both? Both.
And when I'm on my treadmill, I'll walk on a treadmill, and when I do, I read.
Go on a treadmill. Amazing. I know you have some older children. Have they read your books?
Tasha is my oldest. She has read everything that I have written to date.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
Yes. And my mother has read my books. My son has all of my books. I don't know if he's read them or not.
The same way. I know my daughter-in-law, his wife, has read all my books. I know my son has them, but I don't know if he's read them. I really don't. Are there any other writers in your family? I mean, you have this passion for books and writing that stemmed from a book you read. Is there anyone in your family that also loves to write or that gave you influence?
No, I have my eldest daughter. She has children, so my eldest grandchild, she writes, but anyone older than me in my family, no. My mother's a reader, and quite honestly is the only one who really reads in the family besides my son, my daughter, myself. My 14-year-old doesn't really care for reading, sadly, but my 8-year-old, she's getting older, and she's ready. She wants to read.
Well, there's hope for the 14-year-old. He might turn around. He might turn around. So is there an author that's inspired you or gives you inspiration to write or that you just admire?
Stephen King.
He's a very popular guy between all. Every time I ask that question, he comes up. He really does.
I know, and I'm sure that there are other people that I just love. I mean, and I think that both your series are just wonderful, and I love you as an author. But when I was 13, my English teacher gave me a Stephen King book, and it was The Gunslinger. And so that's part of the Dark Tower series, if you're not familiar with it. And it grabbed me. And from that moment on, I read everything that he put out up through the 1990s. I haven't read any really recent things from him, but I really value him as an author.
Mm-hmm. I did read a lot of his like you in the 90s and I think maybe 80s. I belonged to some book club and I would get a book of his like every month or every other month. But like you, I haven't read any since I was in my 20s. I think as soon as I had my child, I was done with Stephen King. But in my teens, I read a lot of Stephen. Now I can't watch or read horror. I just cannot do it. I just can't. Otherwise, I have to sleep with the light on.
Yeah, it's hard. Horror is hard to deal with. But
how many books has he written? I can't even. I've lost count. The same with James Patterson. I read some of James Patterson's too. I like the murder mystery of his. Mm-hmm. The only one I've read of his, and there's so many in the series, is Alex Cross, the Alex Cross series. Mm-hmm. But there's so many I need to read about, maybe 9 or 10 more to be caught up. He brings them out like every 3 or 4 months, it seems like.
I know. And didn't he just write one with Dolly Parton?
I wouldn't be surprised. He writes one with everybody else.
Yes, I think Bill Clinton. I think my mother read one with James Patterson and Bill Clinton teamed up together.
I saw that one. I might even have a copy of it. But like you and like myself, my time is limited to reading. I wish I had more time to read. I would read a lot faster. But it's always a balance, write or read, and normally writing wins. So I've mentioned before, the only time I can read a book is in the bathtub. The door's closed, nobody's in there. I get peace and quiet, and just don't drop it in the water.
Oh, that's true. I don't even have a bath in the house. We just have a stand-up shower, so
I love my bath.
It's practical.
I love my bath. That is like my me time. And I just close the door. I shut out the world. I grab whatever book I'm reading, and do not knock. Do not come in. It's my time, and I'll bite you if you do. And hubby knows that. He knows it's my time. I do want to take a little break and read the description that's on Amazon for Finding Emma. This is the book that just came out last month. I have read it. I loved it. The ending is a surprise, but a good surprise. I didn't see it coming. So this is the description to Finding Emma. It's book 1. I'm sorry, what was the name of the series?
It's About Time.
It's About Time. Okay, and that's book 1. Okay, this is the description. What if the only anchor to your identity was a tattoo with a name? David Winsome answers the door for a beautiful woman who can't remember how she ended up on the hill near his family's home. The woman assumes the name on her tattoo, Emma, and blends into the community while questions about her past plague her. Why is the town familiar, even though no one seems to know her? And why does she feel an intimate attraction to David, even though she just met him? As Emma accepts her new life and begins a loving relationship with David, a person who claims to know her enters her life. Does this person hold the key to Emma's past? Or is there a mystery much deeper than Emma's identity? Someone has manipulated the events in his favor, and he has made a larger plan in mind. He has a much larger plan in mind. Love can cross the distance, and it's about time David Winsome learned how far it can go. Ooh, intriguing. Did you write the description also for the book?
I did.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good job. That's the part I hate the most about writing a book.
Yes.
Do you feel the same way?
I do. I absolutely do. I had to recently write the description for my thriller, and it was hard. I sent one to my eldest daughter, and she was like, "Oh, it's okay." And I thought, "Oh, okay. Well, then that means I need to rewrite it." And I rewrote it.
Yeah, I can write 2 or 3 chapters, in my writing session. I can spend all day to write 250 words with the description and still not be happy. It's just condensing it without giving too much away. It just is the part I hate the most. And I always leave it to the last minute. I have my cover designer. She's booked for my next book for June 1st. You watch, I'll be up the night before writing the description so I can get it to her by June 1st. That's what I do. I wait till the night before, even though I have, months ahead to do it.
It's trying to find the perfect way to pull your reader in.
Yeah.
Without, like you said, giving too much away. You don't want to ruin it for them.
You want them to read the description, and from there, you want them to open the book and get a feel for the book. Or on Amazon, read the example. Read inside a little bit. And you want them to read the whole description and not bore them. So the description has to be long enough to grab their interest, but not too long where they get bored.
Very, very true. And then now they have on Amazon where you include content warnings. And have you had to integrate that at all?
No one's said anything to me. But I have seen that about the warnings, but I have not done it.
With my thriller, I think I'm going to have to, because it's about a female serial killer, and the things that make a female serial killer are
crazy.
Yes, so that comes with a content warning.
When is that one coming out?
In October 27th. It'll be.
And this is another series, book 1.
It is.
And do you have a title for this one?
I do.
Do you want to release it? If not, that's fine. We can wait. It's up to you.
Yes, we'll probably have to wait on that one.
That's fine. I totally respect that.
But I have a paranormal suspense that I'll be releasing on August 2nd. and I can give you the title for that.
Ooh, what's that one?
Solomon's Tears.
Oh, I like that. That's another series, book one.
Yes, it's kind of in line with my Brother's Keeper is part of the Pale Woods Mystery series. Well, this is a Pale Woods suspense, so it's all kind of intertwined. And if you read more than one of my books, you will see characters in the other books. And I think there, Miss Linda, you had mentioned that she was here, and she's read some of my books, and she would know about the integration of the different characters. And it may be something so very slight, but
so when you wake up in the morning before your kids, while your kids are sleeping, which book do you decide you're going to work on, or just one? I mean, you got like so much going on. Do you just like sit down and wait for one of the characters from the book to give you your morning coffee and say it's my turn?
Well, if I'm neat, like just recently finished the thriller, and because it was weighing on me so heavily, I had to get it done. Okay. But while I was doing it, I had the ghostwriting project. So if the person who is paying me to write the ghostwriting project said, okay, here's an email with things in it, then I would take the next day and I would incorporate those things. But if they hadn't contacted me recently, I would go ahead and get back to my project.
Wow. So, and how long is your writing session per day? Obviously, you do what, 5 days a week, weekends off, or 7 days a week?
I do 7 days.
7 days a week. And do you have a set time? I mean, of course, when the kids wake up, that's it. It's over.
That's it. That's exactly it.
How much time do you normally get in the morning to write all these books?
Between 1 and 3 hours, depending. My husband wakes up early in the morning to go to work, and so I wake up and pack his lunch for him and send him on his way, and I'm usually up. But when it's the heavy winter hours and it's dark outside, I have to be very careful about what I do around the house, or the children will wake up way before daylight, and then they'll be really tired at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So I have to be very careful and very quiet in the very early morning.
When you say you get up very early, what time is very early?
About 5:30.
That is early. And you go to bed 8 or 9.
No, I go to sleep about 1 o'clock.
Oh my goodness.
I don't sleep a lot. Sometimes I go to bed at midnight.
Do you write again in the evening too?
If I have the chance, I try to give the children as much attention as I can. But if they're off doing their own thing, and sometimes sometimes they play together harmoniously, and I don't want to interrupt that. So
heck no. Wow. 1:30? So you get like 4 hours of sleep and you
remember that. But but as they get older, then you kind of tend to go back to what's your normal schedule for your body. So I'd say that here in another year or two, I'll find myself going to bed about 11:30.
Oh, wow. A couple hours earlier. That's good to know. I didn't know you went to bed that late.
I did.
Okay. Kathy has a question for you. I'm going to put a few questions up for you. Kathy's asked, what gives you inspiration for a book?
Anything can. All I have to do is just sit down and think. I can be on my treadmill and thinking about nothing. I can be in my car driving. That's where I actually find most of my inspiration, is when I'm in my car driving, and something will just come to me. A scenario will come. And after that scenario, I think, well, okay, can I really write this? Is this something that I can do? And so, for example, I always have 1,000 different things going on in my head. And so I want to write a Southern fiction novel. So I thought, okay, well, what kind of Southern fiction novel do I want to write? And I was on my treadmill, and within 40 minutes, I had the book idea in my head, and I started it. And so I've actually got a chapter or two of that one.
There she goes again. So if you're driving and all of a sudden this idea pops into your head, what do you do? Pull over and write it down, or just
no? I remember it.
Really? I have
I
to
might
write it
share
down.
it. I might share it with my 14-year-old. She says she's never going to read anything I write. So it's okay that I share everything with her. She actually really helped me on my thriller because she and my mother both like to watch a bunch of the true crime and all of the NCIS and things of that nature. And so I would go to her and say, okay, well, how is this lady going to kill this man?
Oh my Lord. Do you, out of all the genres you write, and there is a few, do you have a favorite that you just, really enjoy?
Love
writing?
mysteries. I love mysteries. I love the paranormal. So I love to intertwine paranormal or mystery into anything. I do enjoy writing fantasy. I don't know a whole lot of people who like to read it outside of maybe my daughter and my son. So I don't really write it as often, but I do love mystery. I love to write.
Is there a genre that you won't touch? You won't write?
Well, if I'm going to have my children read my books, I'm going to have to steer away from erotica.
There's a point. Well, when they get older.
I don't know.
I know for sure my son's not read those. My daughter-in-law has, and she loved them. The Sabella series. Mm-hmm. She loved them. My son, I know he hasn't read those. And the other one, he knows that he's in them. I think he's read Reckless Beginnings, but I'm not sure about the other two. Here's another one. I'm not sure who this is. Courtney, living in California must be exciting between. Oh, wait. Oh, she's in California, maybe. I thought that you're in Tennessee. I think
she's talking about you living in California.
Oh, we get all that. What kind of, you get floods. I know that in Tennessee. What other elements do you have to deal with?
Well, I'm in a valley surrounded by mountains, so we don't get tornadoes that often, which is wonderful. We do have localized flooding. It doesn't get really serious. We had the Great Smoky Mountains has had fires. I'm sure you've heard of them in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area.
Yeah,
that's about an hour and a half away from me. But really, it's a wonderful place to live. I'm not a big fan of all the rain, but
were you born and raised in Tennessee?
I was. I sure was.
Really? Have you traveled? Do you travel a lot, other than when there's COVID, of course?
I know. I've not traveled to as many places as I want to go. I want to go everywhere. No, I haven't been to as many places as I want to go. I loved Louisville, Kentucky. I liked Indiana. I went to do the Polar Express in Indiana, and I know there's Polar Express rides everywhere, but theirs was really fabulous. They did it exactly scripted like the movie. It was wonderful. Let's see. I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and I enjoyed it other than the interstate. It's private. I've been through Florida, in Jacksonville. Every time we would go through Jacksonville, it would be raining and it would be a thunderstorm and lightning would crash on either side of the interstate. Not a fan.
No. And you've not been outside the United States?
I have not been outside of the United States, but I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to Scotland, Italy. I want to go to Greece. It would probably be easier for me to tell you where I don't want to go.
Well, you don't want to go. Oh, I hope you make it to Europe. I do. Bandy, that's a good question. What books have you started your children out reading, being a homeschool mom? That's a good question.
I'm a child. I go through what's called child-led learning. So anything that they show an interest in. My son, we did some, oh goodness, what were those? The Pompeii books, because he was really interested in what happened with the eruption in Pompeii and the casualties and everything. And so we started a children's book series about it when he was younger. He's 21 now, but and then Tasha, she wanted to be a paleontologist. So we looked at books about dinosaurs, and it was Mr. Waterhouse something. I can't remember, but we took it to her second grade class, and I read it to her second grade class. And
Oh, nice.
it was a great book. But then Journey, she's read the Fancy Nancy books. One of my children loves biscuit books and Pinkalicious. That sounds silly, but there's a series called Pinkalicious. The Princess in Black. That was a great series for the children. And I have 4 girls and 3 boys. So 2 of my boys aren't really old enough to start their reading journey yet. And that's why most of the things that I've just told you are kind of the girls' selection. And but when they got older, we did Percy Jackson, we did Harry Potter, we did the Christopher Paolini series with the dragons. We did all of that. We loved it.
That's wonderful. Do you think, with all the genres you've written and write, do you think you'll ever write children's books? Does that ever appeal to you?
Oh, I started one.
Well, of course you did.
I did. I did one. It was kind of poetry. So,
does you want to say hi, the little guy there in your arm?
No.
Does he want to say hi? There he is. Hi. What's his name?
Renegade.
That's a nice name.
Thank you. He's
the youngest, huh?
He is the youngest, yes.
No? He's so cute.
Thank you. I love being a mother, and believe it or not, he's been here this whole time. So
I every time we've chatted, like at the Christmas time, I'm amazed how well behaved your kids are.
Thank you.
The last time we chatted, I had no idea they were all in the same room with you until after the chat, and you told me they were all there. I had no idea. Hi. I got my husband in this there. Hi. What was I going to say? Lost my train of thought now. Oh, I know what it is. When you're not writing, not being a mom, not being a wife, what do you do for fun?
Quite honestly, everything written has taken over my life, and I love it. So other than being a mom, I love to write. I love to read. I love any reasonable music. So, I can go from Metallica to Garth Brooks to Pantera to Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin's my favorite band. And I can do just about anything musically. I usually know a good song within the first couple of beats of the music. Something that I've been able to do since I was about 13 years old and got into my dad's record collection.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. I love to drive a lot. I know that my eldest daughter, she likes to be chauffeured around, but I love to be able to drive. So I like to go on drives. It helped that my son really enjoyed being driven around in order to go to sleep. And this is my 4-year-old, not my youngest. And so I was able to car rides.
Let me get this. I just saw that I still had that question up on the board. But driving probably clears your head and makes, I wouldn't say clears your head, but puts all those ideas in order of some sort while you're driving. I'm trying to get rid of this and it won't go away. Hold on. Come on. It doesn't want to go away. No. Oh well, it's there for a minute. What was I going to say? I want to give your other series just a little bit of coverage here. The first cover of one of those while I look to get the freezer.
I'm sorry, I was trying to tell my 8-year-old Journey. Open the freezer. Sorry, the things that entertain young children.
Oh yeah, but your other series.
Yes.
What is the one? What is that series called again?
Oh, it's the Pale-Woods Mystery Series.
And you have a cover of that to hold up?
I do. Well, there we go.
And what genre is this one? Now, this is book one, correct?
Yes, it's Paranormal Mystery. And I did end up following your advice. You told me to go on Reader's Favorite. And if for anyone who doesn't know, Tina Hogan Grant has been a fabulous mentor to me. She has been wonderful and she's helped me a lot. And she told me to go on Reader's Favorite, and I did. And I got a 5-star Reader's Favorite. I'm entered into their contest. And
congratulations.
Also, I did win 3 awards on another contest.
Congratulations. Well deserved. I haven't read this book, but from reading Finding Emma, it's well deserved.
Thank you.
I do like Reader's Favorite. That's where mine won the gold medals on those. So congratulations. And I'm glad you went forward and put your books up on that.
Thank you. So, I just did this one so far, but I think that I'm going to put Finding Emma on there too.
I would. Definitely, I would. That is book one. Is other books out of that series or just one right now?
Pinky Swear is out. I didn't see if Ruth Benson was with us or not, but she read Pinky Swear, and so it's out and has been out since September. And then the 3rd book will be out in January, and it's tentatively titled Rose-Colored Glasses.
Can you give us a little background on either the series or just book one without giving too much away? Just let us know what it's about.
17-year-old Jared Miller, he's feeling like he's been ostracized for something that he did a year ago while he was trying to find out the whereabouts of his missing father. His sister Ella tries to guide him through some family secrets, but she's also being haunted by a sinister spirit who might or might not be guiding her actions.
Oh, wow. I'm jumping back and forth here, but if you can hold up both books, I want to see the covers of Finding Emma and My Finders Keeper. Number one, do you have any input on the covers? Because the covers are beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Or just give a cover designer your ideas? Did you do that?
Sometimes I give a cover designer my ideas, and she comes up with whatever I decide. I actually chose this picture.
Did you take that picture, or is it one you just found?
I found it on a free site.
Okay.
And I sent it to her, and she said, "Okay, I can work with this." And they get the license to use the picture, and then she moves forward with Finding Emma. I had actually had a whole different cover plan, and and I went to a cover designer because I couldn't use my first one. And I said, I have this cover. Can you make it, or I have this picture. Can you make it into a cover? And she said, well, I would love to, but it has a mark on it, and I don't have the license to use that. And so she said, just go on these 2 sites where I can get a license and find another picture. And so I did. And while I was working, she was working to try and find some more cover ideas too. And so I sent her what I found, and she said, you're not going to believe this, but I found the same picture you sent me. So she said, give me 30 minutes. And she worked up a cover. And I was amazed. Yes, I was amazed by that. She did a very great job. In fact, Solomon's Tears is the cover for it. You are going to be absolutely blown away by the cover of Solomon's Tears. It's amazing.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. And as far as the title goes for your books, do you have the title before you are writing the book, or does it kind of come to you as you're writing?
It usually comes to me as I'm writing. So, for example, in My Brother's Keeper, I was writing, and I always used to tell my eldest daughter whenever she's 5.5 years older than her brother. And so I would let her be in a room with him, and she'd say, okay, I can handle it. I can do this. I can do this. I'd say, okay, you're your brother's keeper. And so I integrated that into the book. And that's how that title came about. In Finding Emma, it was originally titled Emma, but I'm not Jane Austen. Anybody like that. So I had to make sure that I did something a little more with the title. And I thought, well, what best fits that? And that's actually really what fitted the best.
It's perfect. It's the perfect title for the book. It really is. You did a good choice on that one. We're going to be wrapping it up soon. I just want to scroll down if we have any more questions for you. And while I'm looking, could you give some advice to aspiring authors that people want to, write their first book? What kind of advice would you give them?
You may be able to agree with me on this. Be very, very careful before you sign a contract with anyone.
Yeah.
I did that with my first 2 books, and I will say that my publishers or my publisher is, for the first 2, were really wonderful people, but they are business people.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have that in mind. When you're approached, generally you're going to be approached by what's called a hybrid publisher, and you're going to be doing all of your own marketing. So be prepared for that. They might set you up with a few interviews and things of that nature. They may do some posts that include your book, but by and large, you are going to be responsible for getting your book out there and making sure that it gets sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just recently switched to self-publishing.
I did.
Finding Emma. How do you like it so far?
I love it. It's
Isn't
wonderful.
it great? Isn't it great?
I love being able to make those choices.
Yeah, and that's what I like it. For me, it's all about control. I want control of my work. And when you go through a publisher, you just don't have that control. You totally lose it completely. So congratulations, and I hope you stick with it. And like I've told you before, message me if you need to have any questions or help. I'm happy to help.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I just saw a cute question. You can see it. Renee has a cute question. Are you a minivan mom with all your children? I know you have a big vehicle.
I do, and I don't have any room for my husband.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, sometimes we can all fit in the minivan, and sometimes we can't. But yes, I am a minivan mom, and I'm a soccer mom too. My 14-year-old plays soccer. In fact, cool. I was at a soccer game immediately before I came here.
Before you came here, wow. And just scrolling through some of the questions before we call it a night. Elaine Sapp asked, do you play music while writing your books?
That's a very good question, Miss Elaine. Sometimes, if I can, because oftentimes I'm writing when the children are asleep, so I can't have the additional noise.
That's
but
true.
I certainly understand playing music to put you in the mood for the story. I do include a playlist with every book that I write. So there's a playlist.
Oh,
yes.
Like from Spotify.
With everyone except my brother's keeper. I didn't do that because I was still testing what I could and couldn't do. But with every book after that, I have a playlist.
Oh, I like that. I've yet to do that. It's on my to-do list.
I would really love for you to do it, because when I was reading All of Us, I was thinking, okay, well, what can I tell her? What songs can I tell her would
if you have any ideas, throw them my way, because I am so out of the only music I listen to is country. That's it. So I'm so out of touch when it comes to any kind of music. But if you have any ideas for any, because I know you've read a few of them, throw them my way, because I will get around to doing the playlist one day. One day. By then the songs will be outdated, I'm sure, but I'll still use them.
Well, I have a lot of songs that I use that it's largely a mix. And so, I mean, it can be an old song, a new song. It's not necessarily what's playing right now.
And you put it up on Spotify, right?
Well, no, I put it in the book. So,
okay.
Finding Emma has one in it at the very beginning, and most of them are Dave Matthews Band songs. So, because that was kind of Emma's and David's. Let's see.
Yeah, put it up. Okay.
So
awesome.
And additional materials. So there's not just that. I always include a recipe too with every book I write.
Oh, listen to you, Miss Mom here. You're awesome. I love this. All right, sweetie, we are going to be wrapping it up. Before we end it, you're doing a giveaway, correct?
Yes, I
am. To let everyone know what the giveaway is. I do want to point out that it is US only because of shipping and everything like that. But I'll give you a couple of seconds to just say what the giveaway is.
Okay, I'm giving away a physical paperback copy of Finding Emma, signed and sent to you if you live in the US.
Excellent. Now, if you want, I can pick the winner for you, or if you want to go back into the comments and pick your winner after our live, but you'll have to go to the page and the group to find a winner.
Okay. I would like it if you pick the winner because it's your show.
Oh, thank you. I'll go ahead and pick it, and I'll announce it about 8 o'clock tonight, my time.
Okay.
I'm also doing the $5 Amazon gift card giveaway. Most of you know how to get entered into that. You need to go to my author page and share this video and tag me in the video so that way I know you shared it. And anyone that does that will be entered in the $5 Amazon gift card. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. I love hanging out with everyone and getting to know. You're not a new author to me, but I had no idea how busy you were. That was a total surprise. It's been a lot of fun, and meeting the little one too.
Thank
and
you.
When you want to come back, give me a holler. I'd love to have you again. You have plenty of books we can talk about.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But I'll give you a couple of minutes if you want to just say goodnight to everybody and the last few words.
Oh, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for listening to everything that I had to say about my books and for asking your questions. And if you ever wanted to reach out to me, you can certainly do that. I would love to answer any questions that you might have. And if you want to join my ARC team, it's called Book Bindings. You should be able to find that on Facebook. And follow me on social media for any updates. And I really appreciate everyone here tonight.
Thank you, Courtnee. It's been so much fun. I do want to mention, if you want to go to the comments on the author page and in the group after the live, we might have some questions that we missed. When you have time, feel free to go in there and answer the readers' questions that we might have missed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Courtnee. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.